go. Shorty got the plug for the petrol. Shorty tryna go through my cell phone. Start acting up, take her ass home. But she cool though, locked down.
The last thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm gonna cut this out just so I can put this in here, and this is the last thing I wanted to talk about because I've had it for a while now, and I wanted to do a bit of a review or just my take on if it's worth it to buy. I know it's been out for now 6 months, maybe longer. I can look up the actual release date, but essentially it was really hard to get at first, but I think now it might be a lot more accessible. The PlayStation Portal, which is the portable PlayStation connecting device that came out at the end of last year, I think, and was extremely hard to get. Took me forever to get, and I finally was able to get my hands on one a few months ago, maybe 2 months before we moved. And so I've had one for most of this year, and I just wanted to give it up to Sony for this device. Now, there are a bunch of caveats with this device. Of course, like any tech device, there is going to be a bunch of things that you gotta, it's not going to be perfect. To this day, I still have yet to see the perfect device that had no issues with it. With this one, let's talk about all the good things first with the PlayStation Portal. One is the size of the screen. The screen size is fairly big, honestly. Let me turn it on here. The screen size is pretty big. I don't know the exact dimensions, but just in general, playing full on PlayStation 5 games on this screen, I never feel like, the screen is too small for whatever game I'm usually playing. The controls feel very fluid. It even has all the feature and trigger sensitive controls when you're playing games where you're shooting a gun and things like that. All those things are packed in here as well, which I thought was crazy and insane. The fact that the screen itself is connected to the two controllers. I can't pull this screen out. The fact that that was the case, that you still managed to put in those PlayStation 5 controller features of the trigger sensitivity and all those things, kudos to you guys. And also the battery life is exceptionally well on this thing. I thought this thing would have a shitty battery life based off of how good the screen is, but no, it is actually extremely good. I gamed on this for hours the other night. I honestly charged it up for maybe 30, 45 minutes and then hopped right back into it. That's how good the battery life is on this, as far as even taking the charge as well. Let me think, anything else good on it, really good on it. I say those are my favorite things. Playing it, all that. The sound actually is really good from the speakers that are included on it. It's not front facing. They come from the top, and I think, just the top and maybe one on the bottom, just the top. And the build, like I said, the build quality of this is top tier. Kudos to the screen is also a touch screen, which is crazy. I was very surprised to see that the screen was also a touch screen on top of that. But Sony, they're tech gods over there, so they know what they're doing when it comes to building a handheld device. Now, the reason I had got this was mainly because I did want to play my PlayStation 5, but I didn't always want to be sitting in front of a big screen. The Switch, having the Switch, embracing the Switch, enjoying the Switch and all the Switchness that you get out of a Nintendo Switch, the handheldness, but still the full console level experience, was undoubtedly a game changer to the console world. And if you look at what not only Nintendo did, but what Microsoft is doing with their Game Pass, and what even Sony is doing with the portal level experience you can get on your laptop or on your cell phone, this only made sense. But when I got it, I did think it would be something that, or at least I had hoped I watched a bunch of other reviews, and they gave an opinion that seemed reasonable for enough for me to make a decision. So I did. And looking back on their opinions, I still think they were still, pretty spot on for the most part, but I don't know if they used it long enough to really give the opinion that I'm about to say. So really, when I got it at home, when you're at home on your home Wi-Fi, or the same Wi-Fi that your PS5 is actually on, this machine runs perfectly, works amazing. There is like very little lag. The only games that I experience lag on, regardless of me being at home, are games where I'm playing multiplayer online. Your Call of Duties, your Helldivers, not Diablo. No. Diablo 4, no, I did not experience that. But anything that requires like first person level, sharp shooter skill type, gameplay, it's a dub. It's not worth it. If that's all you're looking to try to play, it's not worth it. You need to have a response time that's too high, because remember, you're not playing any games, and I know you probably noticed by now if you're even watching this, the games aren't downloaded on this thing. It's super thin. Look how thin this thing is. You're not playing any games that are actually on this thing. You're essentially playing your PS5 through this thing. Remote play is what that is. So when you turn this on and you're playing your PS5, you're playing games. Your PS5 is on and it's sending a signal essentially to this thing, and you're playing your PS5 through this thing, which is a crazy ass technology when you think about it. Insane. The level of whatever engineering is required to make that happen. Kudos to whoever invented it. I love it. I enjoy it. I was taking advantage of it even prior to the Portal. I would have my laptop and a PS5 controller with me on a regular basis because, hey, it worked. Specifically with the games that I enjoy playing, like Diablo, or just games that are single player, don't require my PS5 to be connected to a server that needs to be multiplayer, nothing like that. That's unfortunately not, remote play isn't there yet where you can still play those kind of games. Diablo is a little different because it's a little more passive, and I'm playing solo, and it's just not, it's not everything that's required from a Helldivers or a Call of Duty or Rainbow Six is just not required for Diablo. So when it came to playing, if it's using this thing off-site out of the home Wi-Fi, honestly, to me personally, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. If you're expecting to use this on vacation or take it to work or just use it outside of the home, it's just not worth it. Do I regret buying it? Hell no, because I use it still pretty heavily. But there was one thing I thought I would be able to use it for that I do not use it for, and that is me taking it out on the road. Even if I don't have a Starbucks Wi-Fi to connect to my phone's Wi-Fi and play it. No, it's just not worth it. Not stable enough. The connection is not stable enough. It's just not there. Maybe in the future. I don't know if what that requires, because I was able to do that on my laptop. Granted, the games I was playing was, Final Fantasy or something like that, but it's just not worth it for me to take this. It's not the most compact thing like a Switch. It's big. Overall, it is bigger than a Switch. So it's not the most portable item, and it feels like even though it's a solid build, it feels still like you want to handle it with care. You don't want to be, just throwing it around or anything like that. So with the most part, I say this is perfect for the home. If you want to play on this while Shorty watches TV and you're still sitting on the couch and you want to get some gaming in, that's what I use it for. Because my PS5 is in a different room it's not on the main big TV, but we'll be watching something on the big TV. Overall price point, as long as you're getting it for retail, do not pay over retail for this. As long as you are getting it for retail, this is a go for me. And as long as you know, outside of the home, me personally, I do not think it is worth it. You're better off just taking a Switch with you somewhere or something mobile with you somewhere and just using that. The connection process and all that, but it takes too long. It's not worth it, me, in my opinion. I don't think it's worth it. Especially with the size of this and the case that I have for it, it's just not worth it. Technically, this is not portable. It does not feel like a portable item. I'm not going to hold you. It doesn't. Not like a Nintendo Switch. It doesn't. Not at all. Like, I'm going to Florida in a couple weeks. And like when I went to Colorado a couple months ago, I brought this with me thinking, hey, I would get to play this on the go. By the time I got to where I was going and I connected to a Wi-Fi and all that shit, it was such shitty. It was just not worth it. I should have just brought my Switch. So, and that's what I will be doing from now on. This is just staying at home. Gets tossed from the couch to the charger to the. That's the only thing I wish it did have for it was a charging station that it could sit on, because the charging port is not the easiestly accessible because there's like a lip or next to it. So it definitely needs like a port that it could sit on and like buy the PS5 so that I could like sit it on there. And it's annoying though. You can't connect Bluetooth headphones to it. You only can connect to Sony Bluetooth headphones that are like $200. Like, get that bullshit out of here. It's ridiculous. Sony doing dumb shit like that. I hate when Sony does that stuff. But you can plug in regular headphones to it. Because headphones are required. If you're playing in the living room or playing other around people, you're gonna want headphones for the thing. Duh. Like stupid shit like that. Sony, like, what? You're doing dumb stuff. That's the only thing I hate. So they essentially made a perfect imperfect item. It's what Sony's used to doing at the end of the day. I do wonder long term, how this will age. Because remember, it's got the white body. The white body, opposed to, I have a black controller, I have a white controller, and I'm sure most of you guys have a white controller as well. Look at that white controller if you used it at all. It does not probably look that pretty at this point. So I do wonder long term, this being one that's a controller that's getting used in multiple places of the house. You know, my couch, my bedroom, like the bathroom, maybe if I'm taking a shit and wanted to play a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, overall, if you're looking for something that you want to play your PS5 and not be at the screen, you want to be away from it because you want to chill in the living room, or your shorty wants to watch a movie on the screen or something like that, this is the perfect item. I will say it is. There you go. My review of the PS Portal.